this might go terribly, terribly wrong. Hi guys, so I come from you from proper lighting and I'm very awkwardly right next to the window, as you can actually see. That's actual outside that you can see for that. But you're also currently awkwardly balanced on the TV. And if I move, the camera shakes, which is worrisome. So this is my library book haul, like I promised. The only problem with this is I accidentally kind of forgot I promised to do a library book haul and took one of the books back, which was bad of me. And I meant to talk about it. I love the matted look. It adds such puff to your hair. Oh well, I can still talk about it through the power of putting it here and making my hand disappear. So firstly, book that I read from the library was Horowitz Horrors. And this was actually a reread, and I actually own... Actually, I'll go get it. Being clever and all. So, I actually own Horowitz Horror, but they recently, as of like April, I think, it was released, they've released a version of it which has these 9 stories. These 9 stories with the other 7 that are in more Horowitz Horrors and like by Anthony Horowitz. So they've released this in kind of like an ultimate collection. So even though like I own this and I can read this anytime I want, I remember I once went to like pick this up to read a particular story and realised, damn, it's actually in more Horowitz Horror, which I didn't have. So I thought, let's just read them all and have a blissful moment from when I was 14, 15. Because I actually read more Horowitz Horror first for my library, and then my school had like a book fair in it, and I saw this and bought this to read the other ones. And that's the story of Horowitz Horror, sort of. But I did do a review of all of them, of the Ultimate Collection. The funny thing about, there's this thing at the very end of the book, and if you read the book you know what I mean, and I do, I guess I talk about this in my review briefly. But basically, I've only ever got that from a library, so I'm thinking, does it not count if you get it from a library? Or am I just really on the back list? Or maybe someone else stabbed the guy. Probably that. Because, you know, originally printed in like 99. This one, I think, 1999. When I was 6. Aww. Such a cutie pie then. What all went wrong? So yeah, I really liked these stories when I was like 14, 15 when I initially read it. So much so like, I read more Horowitz Horror first and like, oh I really love this! And so I read Horowitz Horror. Yay. I bought Horowitz Horror from a book fair. They just happened to have it. So now I have the horrible struggle to decide where to buy, because it's kind of on my to buy list, subconsciously, where to buy more Horowitz Horror or just like get them all bundled in together, Horowitz Horror. Though for sentimental value I would be keeping on to this book either way, so I might just have double of this book, sort of. So I did a review of this, of my read through the whole thing, on my blog, and I went through each story. Sorry, I don't think I made that clear, but it's like an archaeology by Anthony Horowitz. So I really enjoyed this and it was kind of nice to read it. I will say, more Horowitz Horror is better, in my opinion. The stories in there are much better. Like, generally better, I mean. But I guess now, with it being in the one book, you may as well just buy the Horowitz Horror Ultimate Collection. Especially like because it's like the same price as this would have been, because this cost this retail price. Actually, this was retail £6, $5.99, but books were cheaper back then. And now to get the Ultimate Collection, it's $6.99, and I did almost buy it in store, but I said no, I'll wait, and I got the edit from the library instead. But eventually, I probably will have more it's horror eventually. But it's really good, and I give it 5 out of 5 stars. It's still really good for being the age group that it's intended for. As you know, my spot for juvenile horror, you means. And so check out my book review if you want a detailed analysis of it. Still it's not really scary. It's kind of more Ewoks of sort of common myths, but it's still good. Then I got Paradise by Joanna's Nana, and to be honest, I haven't read this yet, and I have no idea what this is about. I did initially think, why don't I just wait to read them all before I do this video? But I kind of had, and I was kind of like, I'm not doing anything, let's just be productive and make this video now. So I haven't read it, and you know, I'm doing my monthly wrap up, so you'll see what I think of this book anyway in following me. So I don't actually know what this is. This is kind of random. It's kind of a books holiday book, and like everybody has a secret really back in like crayons, and it has rock in the back. It has like rock, not Edinburgh rock, but rock on the back of it, so it can't be wrong or good bad. See secrets, broken hearts, there's trouble for Billy in paradise. It's actually quite clever, like walking in the title of the description in the front. Yeah, so it's just, this was a random library grab. You know, sometimes you just randomly grab books from the library. Because like, there's nothing to lose, it's the library, and like, you're just saying, yes, I do use my local library. Please don't shut it down. Shut down the rubbish that you've got in. Do you know what, a half a mile, like you can walk to those libraries in half an hour. I know that because I've walked across that town. Sorry, I can't go into detail with that, so that might be edited out. I'm actually currently reading The Pastures by Justin Cole. To be honest, I've seen this book everywhere and it's kind of been bugging me, but I'm also like, I've seen it in the library for a while, and I'm like, but it's massive, and I was like, it's 720 pages something, and it's a really tall book, and the font, just the random page that I'm on, is quite small, you know. It's like, it's a very intimidating book, and especially since it's a library book. But if I goes, what the hell, let's go for it. And I can take this out for 9 weeks, so it's not as intimidating then. And I'm just slowly reading it. In a lot of ways it kind of makes me feel better about the fact that I'm not reading books excessively right now. Kind of because this is a big book, and it's not that bad if I don't read it in like a week. But and you know, I've been reading good chunks of it while I've been on the bus and when I haven't been feeling kind of ill, because sometimes on my bus, because it's been I feel tired and I'll feel ill because it's such a long windy road, so I don't like read the whole 2.5 hours. That's the single journey to like home, to college and home. By the way, it's good so far. I actually didn't know what this was really properly about when I picked it up, but it's kind of vampires and stuff. Though I'm like, at this stage I'm like, done, like, it's a weird thing at this stage, because it's, everyone dies, basically. So everybody dies in this book, and I'm at 276, and there's like, it's a 720 page book, so not even halfway through, like everyone's dead except for one character. So that was a slight spoil, but it's kind of that, it's said throughout the book that's basically what's going to happen, and it actually happens. Great. So now I'm going to keep reading it, but I'm kind of like, where's he going with this? How's this going to be? And there's a sequel to this. I'm like, really? Really need that sequel, do we? I don't know, maybe I'll read the end to this and I'm just like, oh my god, I have to find the sequel and read it now. But we'll see. We'll see. I don't know, I'll actually just maybe actually research the sequel before I get it. It's good or not. Okay, and the next two books are very fandom-ish to the highest level, because since it's the 50th anniversary of this certain show My library kind of has a display on it, for one thing. But that's actually jumping ahead. I got this, which is Doctor Who, The Writer's Tale, The Untold Story of the BBC series, followed by Philip Pullman. It's by Russell T Davies and Benjamin Cook, and obviously this is about Russell T Davies' time as the head runner, or, you know, like, head writer of Doctor Who. So, Tennant stage, because it has pictures of David Tennant and an illustration of Jack Harkness, Captain Jack. Why is it always Captain Jack? Yeah, it's always a Captain Jack. Yeah. To be honest, I think the thing that bugs me the most about Doctor Who fandom is that they all act like Russell T Davies is some sort of god, and that his time writing Doctor Who, like, head writer, was absolutely perfect, and there was no Ellison with it at all. And it's the same people who romantically insist that Rose Taylor is the best companion ever and is not at all annoying. I don't know, I don't even want to get too annoyed with the fact that she just keeps appearing and people make such a big deal about her. Like, in terms of Doctor Who, she's really nothing, and I like Donna a lot more. Actually, I like Martha a lot more. Actually, I like all the other companions a lot more. Like, I joked about hating the Pawns, but it was really more of a joke than anything, and the fact that she was ginger. Like I said, it was a joke. Rose Tyler has grew into a hate that's mainly based on the fandom around her. That side of the... sorry. Rant. But if you follow me on Tumblr, this rant will not be new to you. I think I'm going redder from the heat. So hot. Moving on, back to the books, and once again, like, they had a little display thing about Doctor Who, and this is like the Doctor's Who's Who, the story behind every face of the iconic Time Lord by Cabell. And this is basically about the actors who played Doctor Who, kind of what they did before and what they did after they became Doctor Who, and it's right up to 11. But this was published in 2010, so it's a bit dated. And it's basically going to be dated when they announce who 12 is going to be. And to be honest, I'm not that sad about Matt Smith leaving, especially since 4 years tends to be the typical lifespan of a Doctor, so he kind of did the norm. That's the normal length of a Doctor, so I kind of really should have seen it coming. But you don't think, even though it was obvious in your fiction, weren't thinking. I liked Matt Smith, but I'm not like devastated he's leaving, and I haven't actually seen anyone who's devastated and leaving, just a lot of people saying don't hate on 12 just because he's not Matt Smith and so on and so on, but I haven't actually seen anyone really being annoyed. Like, they say they're sad about Matt Smith leaving, but they haven't said really stupid things like, I hate you, how come you're leaving me? It's probably just time for him to leave, I think. Sometimes. I think most of the Doctors who've ever played Doctor Who don't ever really want to leave, but they just kind of, that's the right time for them. Except Chris Everson, but I hate him. Really hate him and his typecasting losership. I actually hate Chris Everson so much that if I ever become a director, which I toy with the idea, and you should always say, if you ever get in a stage of power, I probably wouldn't cast him for anything and say, no, we can't have him, he's the bad Doctor. So I would because he left because of typecasting. But who the fuck does one series of something? Why the hell did you agree to do the part in the first place if you were scared of being typecast? And in all honesty, I don't think any Doctor has ever actually been typecast as the Doctor, except maybe William Hayham. But William Hayham was really sick after he left Doctor Who. Like, he was really ill, so he wasn't at the best health to be really doing other stuff once he left. And he was typecast as a military person, so And also he was the first Doctor. You know, it was just, people weren't used to the changeable faces of Doctor Who yet, but I honestly don't think anyone's ever going to get typecast as being the Doctor alone. But for Doctor Who rant, this ends our library haul. And I hope that you appreciated the extra lighting. And now I'm going to lie down and eat a sandwich that was pre-made. Because I'm that lazy.